Welcome to the Massage Business Success Podcast. My name is Amy Bradley Radford, and I help solopreneurs just like you learn how to do it all. I teach you how to earn $60,000 a year or more at the table, while also providing you with the continuing education you need to be successful without burning yourself out. I'm a board-certified massage therapist and have been practicing massage therapy for over 30 years, and I'm a nationally approved continuing education provider for over 20 years. I had my monthly business column in Massage Magazine called Advanced Business Strategy for many years, where I was able to share all kinds of tips about how to have a successful business with business owners just like you. I have also developed the Pain Patterns and Solutions modality, where we learn how to apply non-inflammatory therapeutic massage techniques to create real pain relief that lasts. Now, if you're ready to help your clients and make money at the same time, let's dive in. Well, welcome everyone to episode number 2 of the Massage Business Success Podcast. I am your host, Amy Bradley Radford, and we are going to be talking about how to understand your value and how that translates into money. So let's go ahead and get started. You know, the reason I picked this topic is, as a business coach, I think one of the number one reasons people reach out to me is because they want to increase their value. They want to charge more for their services, and they just don't even know where to start. They don't know how to increase their prices without losing clients or hurting people's feelings, or not knowing, they don't really know how much they should increase or how much they should increase at a time, but they know they need to change their prices. And whenever somebody contacts me about that particular topic, there's a few things that we have to walk through, and that's the same thing I'm going to walk you through in today's podcast. The number one thing you have to understand before you ever raise your prices is your value. That's the number one reason why you haven't raised your prices, is because you don't understand your real value. When we first start out in massage, we're taught in school or in a lot of the business training that we do that we're supposed to look at what the average fee is that's, being charged in, our city, our town, through our competition, and then we should set our fees to be competitive with that. The problem with that is, if you're a new person starting out and you're trying to be competitive, you may actually be overcharging for what your value is, because it takes time to develop the skill set in your hands to have a similar value to someone who's been working for 10 years in your community. And then also, when you set a fee and you train your clientele, or your clientele comes to you because of a price range, it's hard to increase your fees because your demographic, or the people that are your clientele, may or may not be able to support you in your change. So there's a lot of fear that goes into, well, what do I charge? And so there's kind of some foundation, some groundwork that we have to lay for you to understand why you would want to change your prices, how to understand what your value is, and then how to go about raising your prices, and how much and how often, and all of the things. So that's what I wanted to talk with you about today. But not knowing your value impacts what you think your service is worth. And it shows up in what you charge. It shows up in how much you give or overgive or get burnt out. It's reflected in the quality of work you're able to offer, especially as the week goes on. And I say that because if you're trying to meet a financial goal and you're charging less than what you work, then you're obviously doing more sessions than what you're comfortable with. And while you start out on Monday doing 5 massages, by Thursday doing 5 massages, you're tired and your body can't do as much. And so it gets reflected in the quality of service you're offering people, and that impacts your bottom line as well. I see this happen a lot with boundary issues. I have classes that talk about boundary issues. I am huge when it comes to holding firm to your boundaries. And we're not talking about interpersonal boundaries. We're talking about time and money boundaries. If you're chronically, and I'm going to call it chronically because it's kind of an illness, if you're chronically going over your time limit to try and either get a tip, create more value in your service, or because you've created the habit and the client expects it, then that time boundary starts to really impact you physically, because if you sit down and do the math, you're giving away a lot of your effort and energy for free. So understanding your value kind of takes into account that time value as well. And overall, you start to see burnout. I see massage therapists who are tired and they start spending money on other services to kind of help their body feel better, or they're going out and they're eating out more instead of budgeting their money, and it just trickles over into everything in your life until you want to quit and go find a job. And I get people who, when they do the one-on-one coaching with me, that's the thing I hear. I have to make a change or I can't do this anymore. So how do I even start? Where do I even start? And how do you kind of clean up a mess that's occurring in your world? So let's go ahead and just rip off that Band-Aid, and we're going to dive right in. So let's cover a few questions, and I'm going to pose these questions that will get us to the raising prices question that everybody asks me. So why do I think so many massage therapists struggle to raise their prices? The bottom line is they're torn between wanting to raise their prices and the fear of losing clients. When they sit down and think about every client that comes to them, you already know, if you do this, that you have 4 or 5 clients that probably won't continue with your services. And the hard part of that is it puts you back into a mind frame of when you started out in business and you were so thirsty for clients. You were trying to get anybody to come across your table. You didn't know where to find clients and how do you get referrals and how do you get people in the door. And you had to work so hard for every single client that got on your table that you worry about losing even one client. But I'm here to tell you that when you understand your value and you charge what you're worth, you actually get more referrals. You get more people that come to you. And we'll talk about this a little bit more. So I want to ease your mind right now that you're not going to lose your business. And you're not going to go back to that beginning phase where you couldn't make your bill payments and you were working a second job as you were building your little solopreneur business. You will only lose a few clients, if you lose any, in the first couple of increments of increasing your prices we're going to talk about. So I want you to set that fear aside. I think the other reason massage therapists struggle is we don't have a point of reference. How do I know what my massage is worth versus Jennifer's massage down the road versus, Sally's massage? How do I really gauge what I'm worth? And there's actually a way that we can do that. And I'll talk about that just a little bit as well. So let's talk about how you gauge what your value is. And this is going to start talking to you about your money and how you observe your money working for you or not working for you, and what you're seeing your client's behavior is when it comes to your fees and their money. And the simplest way I know to tell you that you're charging too little for your massage sessions is whether or not you receive tips on a regular basis. See, I talk to these people that they have full schedules, they have people booked out 6 months in advance. Their clients know that if they don't have their appointment set, then they're out, and it's going to be hard for them to get back into you. And so you have a really, really strong schedule, but you need to be charging more per session. And if you are receiving tips from your clients, a majority of your clients are tipping. And while that's nice and that's really great to take that cash and either put it in your bank account or put it in your pocket, I've seen both, you have to realize the tip is telling you something. The client is telling you that you should be charging more. And it's a catch-22 because some people like those tips because it's free money, and some people realize those tips are in addition to what they should be charging, and they do raise their prices. But a lot of people look at tips as an addition to the service they're charging, and it doesn't click in their brain that it's a reflection of what the client is telling you your service, your customer service, your massage service, the way you run their business and take care of them, all of those things combined. That's what the tip is telling you. So let's take this into a couple of places. If you aren't receiving tips in your business and you're struggling to keep repeat clients, what I'm going to tell you is you need to refine the service you're offering. You need to work with your service, your location, your behavior, how you run your business, how you interface with your clients, your communication skills. This is a time where I like to say sometimes you're talking too much to your clients about your personal life. Sometimes you're not talking enough to your client and they're being uncomfortable. There's all these factors that you can work on as well as your pressure, your technique, your flow, the ambiance, the entire, I call it touch experience that you're offering to this person. You need to refine that. And when you start getting repeat clients and they start tipping you, then your clients are telling you that your value is now exceeding what you're charging. And from there, you can start raising your prices and maintaining that level of service and increasing it as well over time in order to create the value within yourself to charge more as the years go on and you stay in this career. If you're already receiving tips, then this is what I want you to do to really understand your value. If you're not doing this already, I want you to sit down and start tracking the number of massages you have come to you every week, the pay that you're receiving for the service, and the additional tip. I want you to separate all of that out, and I want you to track it for 3 to 4 weeks. And you may have a system where you could actually just go back and write down what every client, for the last 4 weeks brought to you, and you can actually do the same thing. But a lot of people, if they're not tracking already, they need to sit down and have a real number to work with. So let's say you take week number 1 and you have $850 worth of income that came in from massages. And let's say you had $100 in tips and you saw 10 clients. So what you need to do is you need to take all of that money and separate it out. And you need to look at how many people are tipping you and how many people aren't. You need to take the amount of tips you received and divided it by the number of people that gave it to you. And that is the average tip that you have. And a lot of times it's anywhere from $15 to $25 higher than what you're charging currently for your prices. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that we're not going to increase your rates $25 right off the bat. That's a whole nother demographic of people that come to you that earn a different amount of money. It's too much of a jump. And we're going to talk about how you can do smaller increments and when you can do those increments, because it's your business that's going to tell you when to do it, not you. So once you have that average, you have a goal. So if you're charging $70 an hour and you need to go to $90 to $95 an hour, because that is what the average of the tips tell you inside your business, then that's the goal we're going to shoot for, is to increase your prices $20 to $25 over a period of time, allowing your business to show us when it's time to have those increases. And so that's your goal. You just need to realize that that's your goal. That's your real value. And that's when I say you don't understand your value, doing this little exercise teaches you what your value is. And like I said, if you're not getting tips, generate the type of service that gives you those tips so that you know when it's time to start raising your prices in the increments that we're going to talk about. So I wanted to go back to the fear of raising prices just a little bit and talk about why massage therapists are so scared of raising their prices. And again, it was hard in the beginning. It was hard to get all those clients, and you don't want to lose any clients. But the next step is you don't want to hurt any clients' feelings, because if you were in their shoes and you were getting, a service that you liked at a certain price, and then your therapist starts raising their prices, you're going to have to make some decisions. Either you're going to find the money to continue to pay for that service, or you're going to stop that service and go find somebody else, which is not an ideal situation. So it puts your clients in a position where they have to decide whether they want to be your client or not. And that whole process right there creates some anxiety when it comes down to thinking about losing money. It's not necessarily losing clients. Yes, there are those clients that you want to keep and have in your business forever, but it's losing money that you're afraid of. And that money is attached to clients, and it's attached to whether or not they like or don't like what you did. So this is what I'm going to tell you. And this can be a stumbling block for a solopreneur, and you get to decide how you're going to approach this. I know right now that you have clients that are undervaluing you and your service. They're not appreciating or respecting what you're offering them. These are a lot of times the clients that we work extra hard on, give extra time we shouldn't. They don't tip us for our efforts, but we're constantly trying to make them happy because it's hard. It's hard to make them happy. It's hard for them to be happy with your service because they don't value you or they don't really understand where you're coming from. These are the people that when you raise your prices $5 or something, these people go away really, really fast. And it's okay. They can go find someone else who charges less and wants to take care of them that way. it's okay. Because when you create the space, and it's an energetic concept, when you create the space for something new to come to you, then what comes to you is better. You let go of what is old and not helping you be successful to create the opening for something new and better to come in. And it happens very naturally, especially if you're prepared for it, because you are going to lose a handful of clients, 1 client, 5 clients. Anytime you change your prices, you are going to lose a few clients. But we walk into that situation, that scenario, not thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my clients. We walk into it going, okay, I'm going to make sure that the clients who are understanding my value and the ones that are tipping me and showing me that my value should be more, I'm going to make sure they know I'm accepting new clients, hand them referral cards and say, hey, go ahead and send your friends in. I have some space. I'd love to be able to work with the people that you know could really use my service. And you just change and shift that whole dynamic of fear into a positive experience, and the people you need will walk through your door when you ask for them. So let's set that fear aside and be proactive about our business and be ready to take new clients that are willing to help us maintain our career, not get burned out, maintain our career for the longevity. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I can tell you that I quit 3 times. People, I did. I quit 3 times because I got burned out for this exact reason. I was doing too much massage. People were demanding too much from me, and I wasn't getting paid enough for my time, which meant that I had to do a certain number of massages to meet my budgeting goals. And when I truly started understanding my value and those people fell away, new people came in that valued me even more, that allowed me to increase my skill set and time and put more time into my career, and they appreciated it more, and it just grew and grew and grew. And that is one of the ways, that is the number one reason I was able to stay in this career as long as I have, is because I understood my value, and I made sure that the people that were my clients understood my value as well. So here's our next question. How do you raise your prices? Do you jump to the tip amount like we talked about, $20 to $25 or $15 to $20? Or what is the best approach? So I'm going to tell you a little story. I had a gal that I worked with she was a hairstylist, and she had been doing hair for almost 40 years. She had not increased her prices in 20 years. And she was excellent at what she did. She was actually a stylist that could match hair to the frame of your face and just really add a lot more value than just a simple haircut. And we were talking about this, and she said, well, I think I get a $30 tip all the time. And she was charging $25. So she was getting $50 a haircut. And she says, so that's my value. And I said, yes, that is your value. And we talked about how to raise your prices to get to it and everything. And she did the most amazing thing, and she jumped prices. She went from 25 to 50 and lost half of her clientele. And she giggled and said, but I haven't lost my income, Amy. I'm getting the same amount of money I was before. And I had to really think about that. And that was a very courageous thing to do in business, but perhaps she wanted to cut back on her time and still make the same amount of money, which actually was her goal, was to work less and not lose income. And so she manifested it for herself. It was a pretty aggressive move for business that I don't think all of us would be comfortable with. So I'm going to tell you that you need to raise your prices $5 at a time. And some people would argue with me and they would say 10, but $5 will do something very important for you, especially if you're afraid of losing income or losing clients. When you do a $5 increase, the way I'm going to tell you to do it, you minimize the amount of people that leave you. People make a decision. People hang on for a little while, and they might start looking around if it is too much for them, or they start allocating different money to you. Or if they were giving you a tip, then they give you less of a tip. It gives your clients time to figure out what they're going to do and sort themselves. And then you will know how many people you need to ask for a referral. You may only need 2 new people into your business. And that doesn't stress you out financially as well. If you make a $10 an hour jump or a $15 an hour jump, what's going to happen is you're going to lose a higher percentage of your clientele. You might lose 20 clients. And that puts you in a situation, that puts you back in that fear and panic place where you've got to go, find more clients. You have to actively pursue finding more clients instead of just finding a few. So I tell people this is kind of like trying to change a part on a car that's running. Changing things in business reminds me of that kind of concept. And it was something that I heard a heart doctor once say one time, well, I have to figure out how to keep the car running while I'm changing out the motor. Sort of a thing. Your business is this engine that can't stop. And so if you're changing out small pieces instead of large pieces, then it's much easier to make those changes and keep the engine running and not have as many malfunctions as possible. So these little $5 raises are much more beneficial for you to grow your business up a level and not have to have the worry of rebuilding parts of your business. And it makes it much easier for you to do that. Some of the things that you want to look for as you level up your business into the next fee schedule is, I always tell people, take a step back in your business and watch what your business teaches you. Once you build a business, it's almost like its own entity. And you have to pour so much energy into getting it running. But after it gets running, it has its own quirks and mechanisms and different things that kind of show you how your business is either running you or you are running your business, but it's a relationship you build with your business. And when you make a change like this in your business, you need to wait and see what the relationship is with your business afterwards. You may find a couple of different things happen. Number one, you love going to work again. All of a sudden, you feel like you have told yourself your value is more in line with what it should be. And you feel more important inside your business. I think it's no different than when you get a raise inside a regular job, a paychecker is what I call it, a paycheck job. I think there's a lot of people out there that work really hard on improving their interpersonal skills or taking more education and training in order to get that raise. And then they feel validated for the time and effort they put in. And it's no different inside our businesses. We want to feel validated for the continuing education we did or the new product that we're trying out on people or anything like that. We're the ones giving ourselves the raise. And so we have to be willing to acknowledge the time and effort we've put into our skill set, our hands, our touch experience that we're giving our clients, understand our value, and continue to charge what's in line with our value. And your raise is only going to happen if you make it happen. So here's your challenge. We're going to take this and put it into some practical application for you to use inside your business. Number one, you're going to track your income for a couple of weeks, or you're going to go back and see what your clients have paid you. And you're going to separate out any tips, any additional fees, any charges, any upsells, any different menu options. You're going to sort out your money so that you can have a better picture of a baseline service that people are paying for, any upsells that people are paying for if you're offering any menu items, and then you're going to see what your tips are. And you're going to count the number of people that actually gave you tips, and then you're going to divide it by that. You can count the number of people you saw and average it out that way, but it's kind of lower than what your real number should be. So I like people to use the tippers to do this. And you're going to see what your tips are. If you're not receiving any tips, again, you want to realign your business goals and the service and the effort you're putting inside your business in such a way that you start to see people rescheduling more frequently, referring people to you, and tipping you for your time. Once you have created all of that, you know you're doing something right. And then once you have a stable schedule where it's packed full, jam-packed, and you can't take not one more client, and you've got tippers coming in, that's when you can turn around and raise your prices. So if you're in that situation where your schedule is 95% full, you've got people referring people to you, you've got tips coming through, then I want you to sit down and figure out these numbers and figure out what your average tip is. And then we're going to turn that into our goal. So we used $70 for a standard session, and you're getting an average of a $20 to $25 tip. So $90 to $95 is our goal. And I'm going to tell you that there is no time frame to reaching that 95 other than kind of a general one. So I tell people that you can raise your prices about $5 every 6 months. So if you're wanting to go up, $25, well, 4 to 6 months. If you're wanting to go up $20 to $25, you're looking at about 2 years to stabilize your business into that particular range of pricing. But it could be shorter and it could be a little longer, because this is where your business is going to tell you what you need to be doing. So let's say the very first price range increase that you do, your clients are going to expect this. It's time. It's time to do this, especially if 50 to 60% of your clientele is tipping you. It's time to raise your prices, and you're going to raise them $5. And what I want you to do is I want you to change the prices on all of your menus, wherever you have your prices listed, but you need to give your clients about 4 to 6 weeks to know that that price is going to change. And this really depends on how frequently your clients schedule in with you. If a majority of your clients are every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, then you need to make sure that they've had an appointment with you to see that there's a price increase for the next time they come in. They can't come in and say, oh, wow, I didn't know you raised your prices. That's just bad customer service. So let's say that you have 60 clients and 58 of them are going to see that your prices increased within a 4-week time frame. Then reach out to those other 2 clients and say, hey, I just don't want you to be caught off guard, but my prices increased a month ago. And so when you come in, it's 75 instead of 70. You can do it that way as well. But if you need a full 6 weeks to let all of your clients know that your prices are going to increase, then you need to post your new prices and the date they're going to start. And then on that day, you just expect and raise your prices. And another thing I'm going to say about posting price increase, you don't have to give an excuse as to why you raised your prices. You don't have to tell people, your cost of rent went up or cost of living or everybody's raising their prices, so you are too. That's actually just kind of a negative approach to increasing your prices. Like, oh, I don't want to have to, but here we go. What you want to do is say something like, as of December 1st, my pricing schedule will increase $5 for all services. Thank you for being my client. That's all you have to say. And if people ask you questions, you can simply say a clear statement of, it was time for me to charge closer to my value and service. Thank you for being my client and choosing me to be your massage therapist. As simple as can be. Don't even go down that alleyway of trying to give an excuse as to why you're asking them for more money. It will actually do more damage to you in the long run than if you just say, I recognize that it was time for me to charge a price that was more in line with my value, and I appreciate you being my client. So practice that and be prepared to say it. Also be prepared to answer those 1 or 2 questions from those 1 or 2 clients. They're going to balk a little bit about you raising your prices, and you just tell them thank you for being your client, and they can make the choice to stay or go. Once you've done your price change, I want you to sit back and take inventory of what your business told you. Did all of your clients take it on and say, oh my gosh, it was about time you raised your prices? Did you have 1 or 2 people leave, which created, opportunity for you to take on a couple more clients? Did you feel better about going to work that day? Did your tips stay the same? Did people continue to tip the same amount, or did they reduce their tip to come more in line with what you were charging? If they were giving you $20 before, do they give you $10 or $15 now? All of those things tell you something about your business. Like, yes, I made the right decision. Yes, the price I'm charging is more in line because my clients adjusted their tip amount to meet that. You weren't losing tips. You're actually gaining ground with your clients of coming to your real full value. So after you've done that $5 increase and your business has kind of settled into a new routine and you have filled any empty spots that were created by people leaving, your next step is not to say, in 6 months, I'm going to go up $5 more. Your next step is to sit down and say, what can I do to enhance the service, the massage service or the customer service that I'm offering my clients that will allow them to see more value in me again, even more value than they saw before, so that they either start tipping again or you're preparing their mind to another $5 increase. Because this is what's going to happen. Let's say that you decide to redo your space where your room is, upgrade your decor, make the room more modern, make it feel better, upgrade your table, anything like that. And your client comes in and goes, wow, this was an even better experience. I mean, their massage was great, but the environment we're in now, I really like how I feel inside this environment. It's much more comfy. I can see that they've invested into me because they've invested into their space, and they feel that you have increased the value of your service. That can simply come from buying a new picture and a rug. I'm not kidding. Or painting your room. Just creating something that is more than, or something that's perceived as more than. And when you do those sorts of things and you allow your client to feel that feeling first, when you go to raise your prices $5 again, it's justified in their mind that they should. Now, some other ways that you can raise your customer service are you could actually invest in a text messaging service that reminds their clients of their appointments. And if you haven't done this already, this is a huge benefit to you inside your business because the consumer is being conditioned into expecting a text message from their doctor's office, their dentist's office, the children's school. It's all out there. And so if you're not texting your client or reminding them in some way, you're potentially leaving some money on the table because clients are now becoming more forgetful. So you could even go somewhere down that line where you do text messaging. I know several therapists, because their businesses are smaller, they see 10 clients a week, they just text their clients just simple little text at the end of the day. It's part of their daily task list to remind their clients of their appointment the next day. They don't even pay for a service. But when you are consistent, and you have to be consistent if you make those choices and changes inside your business, when you are offering a higher level of customer service prior to increasing your rates, your clients are going to accept another rate increase because you created more value to do that. There's other ways that you can create more value. You can learn skills to better meet clients' expectations. You can refine your pressure skills. You can take more classes and offer different types of massage, which I don't always say do that to increase your rates $5. I say add that to a menu where you can charge $15 or $20 for a specialty type massage, but you can do some of those things. You could bring on hot towels if you wanted to. You just anything that you know that is a minor change for you and it's not expensive, that increases the experience of the client prior to making the next change. And what you watch for is if you make some of those changes and your clients start tipping you even more again, then your business just told you it's time for another price increase. And that could be 3 months. That's why I said you can't go with a 6-month increment. You have to create the value to drive the value inside your client's mind to then turn around and justify the next $5 increase. And so you're going to continue to repeat this cycle going from 70 to 75, 75 to 80, 80 to 85, 85 to 90, or $90 to $95 in those $5 increments based on the time and effort you put into your business, the refining of your skills and your customer service, and the experience you're creating for your clients. And you can do this somewhat quickly or not as fast. And if you do it faster, again, make sure, even if it's $5 every 3 to 4 months, make sure that one of the main factors before you raise your prices again is that your schedule is completely packed and you can't accept more clients before you make the next step. Because if you jump too fast, you're going to lose too many clients and then you have to go back to building your business again. And we don't want to do that. So let your business guide you, and you give your business guidance like a relationship in order to know when it's time to go to that next level. As you take these steps in your business, I want you to pay attention to something that changes inside of you. And I've seen this happen so many times that I know that this is something that you will experience if you process through your business this way. And that is how you feel about being a massage therapist again. I see so many hands leave this field that are burnout and tired, not because they couldn't do massage, but because they couldn't do more and get paid less and less, basically, because we can't keep giving more of ourselves without getting something back. And the crazy thing about being a solopreneur or owning your own business is the only person who controls that is you. And so in reality, if you're feeling burned out, it's because you're allowing yourself to be burned out, many times because you just don't know what the next step should be. So as you change this, as you create these price increases and the increase in your massage value goes up, you will find that a lot of that burnout just starts to fall away. You may find that you don't have to do 2 more massages a week. You can actually settle into the number of massages that matches your body better. Some people, they can only do 10 massages a week. Some people, 15 or 16 is perfect. And some people is 20 or 25. But if you're a 15-person massage therapist and you're doing 20, you're going to get injured and burn out. So how do you make that 15 work for you? And that's a whole nother concept we call maximize your massage business, where you take the steering wheel and say, this is what I have to earn, and how do I bring in the clientele to pay that, and what am I offering? And it's another way to drive your business. But that is another longevity principle, is understanding your limits and then working within them. But you will find that when you get paid more for what you do, or paid closer to your value, you go home not exhausted at the end of the day, because the dialogue inside your head is different. You appreciate your clients. You're more positive at the table. Your behavior changes, so their behavior changes, because you are not shortchanging yourself. And that is one of the ways that you stay in massage therapy, not as a job, not as a business, but as a career for the rest of your life. And now, my friends, you understand the foundation of burnout. And you also know that you can take small, doable steps to turn your business back into a career that you actually love. Thanks for joining me today. I hope I have inspired you to take that next step to understand your value. And we will see you here next time at the Massage Business Success. Thank you for listening. For more information about classes, products, or coaching, go to amybradleyradford.com. And if you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe and leave us a review.